Smith here, and welcome to this edition of Tech Review. I know it's been a while since I've posted a video review on here, but actually I don't post video reviews on here very often. But when I do, it's usually something that I find to be truly remarkable or really groundbreaking or very different. And in this case, the Samsung Galaxy Mega 6.3 inch is certainly no stranger to being different. And that can be a good or bad thing depending on how you view it. In my case, I actually like large displays on my devices, no matter what I'm using, no matter whether I'm into portability or being at my home. The fact that I have a 27-inch iMac attests to that. Well, now, without any further ado, I'd like to introduce the Samsung Galaxy Mega. Now this is the GT i9-200 International version. This is the version that doesn't come with the 4G LTE radio. So, let's get right on down to it and start with the review. Wow, this phone is immensely large. Wow, this phone is pretty thin. It's also worth noting that this phone does come with an internal 8 gigabytes of storage. It also has a 3200 milliamp battery, which is removable, as well as additional storage memory slot that you can add to it. It also feels pretty sturdy, yet lightweight and not unwieldy. Okay, so let's start this phone up. Looking good so far. The sound on this device is pretty incredible too. Just so you know, I played around with this phone a few weeks before the review. So I had loaded with my password and account on here. Well, you'll see right here that the phone has very quick and fluid response between swiping to and from different windows. Another thing you'll notice is that Samsung has, as usual, used its TouchWiz UI, which is a nice clean look. There's no SIM card, I just am using Wi-Fi. I have this phone unlocked, I didn't put a card in there. You'll see that it comes with all the things that you would expect in a Samsung smartphone. This is running Android 4.2 and it can be updated. What's so great about the Galaxy Mega is its immense display size. At 6.3 inches, this is the largest display you'll find right now. Although inevitably, there will be larger display sizes than this. However, you won't be disappointed by the screen real estate this provides. What's not so great is its resolution. This screen is an LCD 1280 by 720. Which is relatively low resolution in comparison to the Galaxy Note 2 and the Galaxy S4. So the pixel density is pretty low. While this relatively may not be an issue for some, this is a noticeable difference compared to other smartphones right now on the market. If you're looking to purchase this device to utilize its large display as a viewing for HD videos or streaming web content, you will see that videos and images are not as crisp and clear as they could be. The Mega has an 8 megapixel 1080p rear-facing camera. It records video and takes photo as normal. The front-facing camera is 1 megapixel, and I've actually found it to be relatively pretty clear compared to other devices. So that is one advantage. One thing to keep in mind with the Galaxy Mega is that this is not a flagship phone from Samsung. This is not the highest end phone you can buy. Despite the fact that its screen is bigger than anything else made at the moment, its specs are still that of the previous generation of Samsung phones, if not lower. This has a 1.7 gigahertz dual-core processor. Now, while that sounds like that's a lot, it's actually not, while most phones now are on quad-core and multi-core processors. If you're a high-end gamer, this will be a problem. If not, this phone is fine for you. Now let's check out another variation of this device from others. Let's check out S-Memo. S-Memo is just like that of S-Note. Now also keep in mind, this does not come with an S Pen or a stylus, if you will. Um, right now, this device that I'm using, this pen that you may be seeing periodically, is something that I purchased from a drugstore for about $3. Now, while this might be enjoyable for many, I personally had found this a pain to use. This was actually harder to use the stylus or any kind of capacitive device on here. It took a lot of practice. I found the Note 2 and the 3 to be much easier to use in this regard because the pen tip is much more fine tipped. This is more like a rubber rounded ball, so this is the best I could do on this phone. And just in case you're wondering, the answer is no, you cannot use the S Pen from the Note series on this device. You do have the same features as voice memo, it's just in a different place. You can record your voice. Another thing I liked about this phone is that it does have the FM radio app, as was common in most Android devices a few years back. You can also record FM radio, and you can save it to your SD card or the phone's internal memory. Although many people find this is really unnecessary, it is a great feature to have sometimes if you just want to listen to music and not worry about your data plan going up. I have unlimited, so that's really not a problem for me. The FM radio only works when the headphones are in. The multi-window viewing is also still available on the Mega, as you would expect on other Samsung Galaxy devices. So as usual, you can just drag two different types of apps to the phone. So here's a video here, and here is an email I was reading as well. Multi-window viewing works both in portrait mode and landscape mode. Of course, as you'd expect, this phone is not very good, well, really not good at all, with one-handed operations, especially if you're trying to type. So you'll definitely need to have two hands when you're typing. I actually don't mind this at all. I really do enjoy having a big screen on the phone, so this can be irritating to some, others this won't be a problem. I think it's good. Okay, so let's check out some of the video footage that this phone can do. This is something that I recorded. So the video quality on this phone really isn't that bad. It's really not that much jitter. Using air view, you can hover your finger about 1 centimeter over. Well, it's a little bit more space than a centimeter. So as you can see, I'm actually not touching the phone. I'm just sliding and previewing. As you can see, air view also works for photos as well. Just slightly hover over a photo, your finger, and you can see a preview of it. It works for email as well. It also works for music too. So finally, I'd like to do a benchmark review, benchmark testing. Actually, the test was already performed before I did the video because it takes a while doing a stress test. And I just wanted to show you where it ranks. The Note 3 is at the very top. And keep scrolling down. Scrolling down. Yes. And the Galaxy Mega comes in very, very, very low rating. Just about everything else comes up on top of it. This is for the 720p graphics test, the 1080p graphics test, and the chip-to-chip comparison with the GPU. So obviously, when it comes to high-end performance, this phone is not a winner. At the same time, it isn't terribly slow. So here's a 4.3-inch phone. Right here is the Galaxy Mega, and beside it is the Samsung Galaxy Tab 7.0. When you compare these three devices, the Mega seems more like a tablet than a smartphone. In fact, this would now be considered a phablet, a cross between a phone and a tablet. My apologies for the fact that I don't have any newer devices to compare the Mega to. Another challenge with this phone is storing it. Some may find it a problem often when putting it in their pants pocket. Now, this is not a problem for me, but many might find this an issue if they're particularly wearing skinny jeans or any other kind of pants and the like that are pretty tight. But for me, it fits comfortably. Here's a simulation of how it might look or feel if you have tight pockets. If it suits you, I'd suggest a holster for this phone. There it is.
Well, this just about wraps up this edition of Tech Review for the review of the Samsung Galaxy Mega 6.3. Now let's do a quick recap. The first thing you'll notice about this phone, which is impressive, is its massive display, being 6.3 inches. This is the largest phone that you can get on the market today. However, a drawback about this phone is its resolution. Being only 1280 by 720p resolution, you'll see that images are not as crisp and clear as they could be as you'd find on other phones by Samsung, such as the S4 or the Note or other phones that are competing that market. The phone does come with a 1.7 gigahertz dual-core processor, and this is pretty powerful. However, if you're a gamer, you will find that this isn't adequate enough for running 3D graphics and high-end games that are CPU intensive. So what you may experience, what you will experience, is a lot of lag and just a lot of slowdowns. However, though, if you are not the high-end gamer and you just like playing a little bit of games that really aren't memory intensive, this phone will be more than fine for you. This phone is perfect for those who don't like redundancy, who don't like the idea of carrying around a cell phone and a tablet, like I myself am. I personally like having a phone, tablet, like having everything all in one device. So this is what prompted me to get the Galaxy Mega. While I'm not a high-end gamer, I find the dual-core processor to be adequately sufficient enough. The camera is very good. It's very impressive for being a non-flagship phone from Samsung. It does have an 8 megapixel 1080p display, resolution rather. The front-facing camera is pretty clear for a 1 megapixel. Most cameras that have 1 megapixels aren't as clear. The phone does have the same features pretty much as the S4, with the exception of the air gesture of switching between photos by waving your hand over it. So in conclusion, if you're in the market for a high-end phablet, if you will, or a tablet or a phone that does tablet capabilities, but yet you don't want a tablet, this is the perfect device for you. If you rather have a device that is a little bit more faster and quicker, you might want to consider getting another phone from Samsung, probably one of the high-end flagship devices. Also, while you may find that this is one of the biggest displays Samsung has, you might find it hard at times to carry around. Also, this could be a challenge holding it to your head. Here's another point to consider before purchasing this phone. If you care about what others think about you, this may not be the device for you. If you want to still attempt to buy this, be prepared to be the butt end of many jokes, be prepared to be socially inept at some point, and also be prepared for a lot of sneering and laughter, especially from strangers, or from anyone at that matter. Now, how do I know this? Well, I for one have experienced it. And you know what? It's okay. I actually kind of laughed myself. I mean, I bought this phone not only because of the fact that the screen is so large. I like the fact that it is, and it can serve as a tablet and a cell phone. I just wanted to see how many people, it never fails, every person that sees me on my phone gives some kind of comment, whether good or bad, confused. I've just heard it all. What's that you have? It's so big. It's so awkward. It just seems like you'd be so clumsy with it. That's a joke. Are you serious? Yeah, I've heard them all. It's just so many numerous comments and questions I've had about it. But, you know, I'm actually okay with it. I actually kind of find it funny. I like drawing attention with this phone. I actually got this too, partly to make a statement. You know, I just wanted to get this. I wanted to use it. I think it's a really good conversation starter. Because of the fact that its screen size is so unusually large, many people will find this funny. Others will find this ridiculous. And if you're just like me, you'll grow to love this phone. I mean, after all, this is not the first time that a phone has been introduced which was unusually big. Back in 2009, when the T-Mobile HTC HD2 came out, that screen was 4.3 inches, and that was pretty big at that point. There were no other phones that was that size at that time, and I'm sure people thought that was kind of comical, and they thought that it would never be successful. However, it did. In 2011, we have another landmark year. The Samsung Galaxy Note is introduced, creating a new form of electronic devices now called phablets, anything being 5.0 inches and larger. And we see that despite the fact that many people were uneasy with the phone at first, they grew to love it. The Samsung Galaxy Note is one of the best-selling phones out right now, next to the iPhone. So, who knows? It's quite imminent that a 6.3 phone could be possibly the norm in the next couple of years, if not so months, or a year and a half. So, don't worry about what other people think. Get this phone not because of what you think someone's going to say about you, or not to get it, but get it because you truly like the fact of what it can do. The screen size is a bonus, again, as I tell you. If you're like me and you don't want to have a cell phone and a tablet or a hotspot, you can just have all of this in one. It's an awesome device. Again, it is unlocked. It's a GSM phone, so it can work on all 2G and 3G networks. As far as the LTE, it will not work. There is no LTE on the 200 series. On the 209 version, there is LTE on there, and the AT&T wireless company does sell this, and it's a very good price. So just make sure you consider your options. There'll be many more other phones on the way coming. There's always an endless parade of new phones, tablets, phablets, and other electronics out. So, you want to wait? Wait. If not, do whatever. Again, I give this phone a 4 out of 5 stars. This concludes this edition of Tech Review. Thanks for watching. Until next time.